Well, thank you everyone for being here. And I'm going to start with a suggestion made by Councillor Berry, which is to read the council mission statement at the beginning of each meeting. I thought that was a great suggestion, so that's how I'm going to start. The mission of the Wilsonville City Council is to protect and enhance Wilsonville's livability by providing quality service to ensure a safe, attractive, economically vital community while preserving our natural environment and heritage. Thank you for that suggestion. So welcome everyone to the State of the City for this lovely city of Wilsonville. And I thank all of you for taking time to be together tonight and join us in celebrating our city, which I think is a really wonderful city. I'm Julie Fitzgerald, and I have the privilege of telling you something that you already know, which is that it is an honor to be the mayor of the city of Wilsonville, such a special city. It's such a beautiful community to live, work, and play in, and what attracted my husband Bob and me when we decided to move here in 2007 is that we could tell that there's something different about this city. We could tell it was a well-planned city. We could tell people have been involved. There was something unusual about how they had such a good library. Somehow they had underground utility lines, beautiful parks and trees and wonderful neighborhoods, and we just kept coming back and decided this is where we wanted to make our home in 2007. And, you know, that was in 2007, and we all know that growth is inevitable. And what truly sets Wilsonville apart, I think, from other communities, one of the reasons we love it so much, is there's a community ability, there's a community interest that you can see has taken place over time to come together and manage that growth. It's not just about the city's vision for a quality of life, it's about the people who live here and their vision and what they want to see, and you can see that coming through. So I hope we all continue to have a lot of participation, whether you're participating by filling out a survey when it comes to your house, asking what kind of park you think they should build, or what kinds of housing would be best in your view. To participate, fill out those surveys, come to the open houses. You might be volunteering on one of our boards or commissions, or helping with the senior center, or doing something with one of our nonprofits, but all of that helps ensure that Wilsonville continues to be a really wonderful place to live, an inclusive city that aligns with what you see, and I think what we all see. The more you participate, the more you will see that. So it's my great pleasure to be able to recognize the members of the Wilsonville City Council. And I want to start by recognizing Council President Kristen Ockervall, Councilor Joanne Linville, Councilor Carolyn Berry, and I also want us all to recognize Councilor Katie Dunwell, who's not able to be here with us tonight. And I want to say another word about that is Councilor Dunwell is not able to be here tonight because of a very serious family health issue, and of course, we hold her in our hearts. And Councilor Dunwell, I know this is a very difficult time. So it's at this point, I just want to say a little bit more about our council and how much I thank them for what they bring to their work every day, every week. They put in a tremendous amount of thought and discernment, research. They talk to people, they listen to that. They consider what different things they're hearing from people, and they bring that to the council, and they all have a great deal of diversity in their background and professional experience. So thank you, all of you, for all the time you put into your work. Appreciate it. And before I go any further, I want to thank my husband, Bob, who is the most wonderful, supportive spouse. He doesn't. But by no means does the city do its work alone. Let's see if this clicker works. I just have a little slide there that says people make the place, because I really believe that. And many of our partners in guiding us to where we are today and to building Wilsonville's future are here tonight with us. And over time, Wilsonville really has become what it is and has thrived because of the many people and leaders who have invested in it, and many residents and business owners who've taken part in developing master plans, providing comments, coming back to hearings, and getting us to where we are today. And we've done that through good collaboration and strong partnerships. So I'm really honored to be able to introduce some of our local leaders here today. We have State Senator Aaron Woods joining us from District 13. State Representative Courtney Neron from District 26. Metro Councilor Garrett Rosenthal from Metro District 3 represents our area. And we have our two former mayors here today. We have past Mayor Tim Knapp right here. Thank you. And we have former Mayor and Councilor Charlotte Lehan. There she is. Thank you for being here. And I also, are there any other elected officials who I didn't see yet? Thank you. Former City Councilor Steve Benson. Thank you. I appreciate the help. And Police Chief Rob Werps was not able to be here today, but Officer Beneke is here, right here. Thank you for being here. And we have Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Chief Cassandra Ulvin. Thank you. And I think we may have, there's a school board meeting tonight, it's the same night as we meet, so I'm not sure that we have anyone from Westland Wilsonville schools, but let's give them a round. And in addition, all of you are here, and some of you are on our boards and commissions, and I would like to recognize former chair of Wilsonville School Boards, Chelsea King here. Thank you. So we have a number of members, people who are currently serving on our boards and commissions or have in the past with us today. We have volunteers. We have people who volunteer in a number of capacities around our city for schools, Rotary, community service groups. We have people who live here, business operators, people who work in the businesses in Wilsonville, and we have some members of the Wilsonville Chamber of Commerce. So it's really the work of our volunteers and the staff and the involvement of everyone who has made Wilsonville what it is today. And the theme of my talk today is going to be about how you can participate, what participation has done for Wilsonville, and what we can do to take it forward. So this slide here, you can probably tell was not made by the city communication people. I made that myself because I just wanted to share. I was looking at a few things a lot of things that we do as counselors, and so many projects that we've done throughout the year. I have a copy of the Boones Ferry Messenger here, just one of them, and if you look through those from July, you can see the magnitude of things that have happened in Wilsonville. And so I'm not going to go through everything. But I think what I want to say tonight is, and I had one speech prepared, and I changed it. Today, I decided I'm not doing that speech, I'm changing it, and you're gonna find out why, because I think the order of the day today is, do we have a good future? What is our bright future for Wilsonville, and what are we all gonna do to make it happen? We are lucky to live in a fantastic city, and it's up to us to see what we can do next to keep it being one of the best cities I've ever been in. So everyone knows that this is a year to endure a lot of road projects. We have, we went too fast with that one. We have a lot of road projects, starting with the Willamette Water Supply project on the west side, and obviously the Beckman Trail project on the east side. And I want to just give a thank you to everyone who's living through and driving around all of those work areas, and to the flaggers who are working very hard. We also have had comments from people who live in those areas urging different tips and methods and ways that it can be better, and I think we should keep doing that. Because so far, so good, and we have a tremendous amount of work to take care of. The Willamette Water Supply Project is a big one, and that's going to go on for about a year, as is the Beckman Road Corridor Project. So most of these projects, those two that I mentioned, and also many of the things that we enjoy every day, whether we think about it or not, are happening in conjunction with some financing tools. There has to be a way to finance things, and one of the most important financing tools that Wilsonville has used since 1990 is urban renewal. And we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. All of these projects have entailed the collaboration between the City of Wilsonville, our school district, our fire district, 4-H, and our law enforcement, just to name a few of them, Clackamas Community College. So, and the purpose is to make sure that when is there a way for Wilsonville to grow? Oregon is really unusual. There's no other state that has the property tax system that we do. And when you realize that your assessed value only increases 3% every year, that means that there's very limited resources for all of the taxing districts to work with. If a city can grow and add more businesses, add more restaurants, houses, employers, then your tax assessed base can grow and diversify. And from there, you're able to have parks, have a good parks department, have a fantastic water system, an exceptional sewer system. All of those things that we take for granted have to come from somewhere. So I was reading some of my materials and left the room and came back, and my cat was sitting there, and I took this picture, and I thought, she doesn't really care if we never used urban renewal, because if we never used urban renewal, she would be fine. She could creep around in the gravel. She could find water to drink out of a puddle. She doesn't really need a park, and she doesn't go to school. So she doesn't really care, and she has her own trails. But I do care. And if you look back at from 1990 to today, the features of Wilsonville that have made it really the place it is are paid for in large part by a strategic use of a financing tool called urban renewal. And there's a lot of partnership that goes into this. Partnership is the theme of my talk today. And I'm going to start right now. I'm going to just take a left turn and talk about some of the big accomplishments that we've had this year. Now, the Boone Bridge certainly has nothing to do with urban renewal. But when you're driving on Wilsonville Road and at 5 o'clock, trying to go left or trying to go south, you can't do it because the traffic is blocked up on the Boone Bridge. You can say, when are they going to get that built? What are they doing? And I know that our past city councils have all worked on that. We are making progress. That is a federal project. We need to work. We are working with ODOT. We have made progress with it, and this it has now been brought into the fold of 4 major projects, and it's now called a mega project. ODOT is now studying where they would put the bike ped facility, which they have committed to, and we believe they've committed to the auxiliary lane. We all heard the wonderful news that tolling has been halted. What's next? Something has to happen. The state is going to have conversations. I hope maybe all of us will be involved in conversations, or how are we going to pay for a $600 million Boone Bridge? The fantastic news about a road project that is not even in Wilsonville that we talk about a lot, and that is the 65th and Stafford Road. It's in Clackamas County. It also has some Washington County affiliations. So through a collaboration with City of Wilsonville, Washington County, and a project is being led by Clackamas County to build a roundabout at that interchange. And it is just, I really thank Clackamas County for working and Washington County to come up with the money. We also committed over $1 million to that came from the vehicle registration fees that we all pay when we get a new license, renew our car registration fee. And the design is going to start soon. Construction will begin about 2027. These things take a long time, but that is really something to celebrate. I know Mayor Knapp worked on that and talked about it a lot. And so that's going to be a huge safety improvement. We continue to work with our neighbors, partnership with our neighbor, the city of Aurora, and people who live near the Aurora airport in working to advance the need to have a real meaningful seat at the table as the Aurora State Airport is in their master planning process, and make sure that we're taking into account how to take care of the noisy overflights, and also make sure that safety and transportation are taken into consideration. We could spend the whole night on any one of these topics. To conclude on this slide, next week I'm going with a couple of other cities and jurisdictions to Washington, D.C. Our federal partners ask that we all come together. They don't want to hear from one city or one jurisdiction, and so we will all go together and make our case for our priorities. I have a slide here just to preview, or just to overview the Willamette Water Supply Program, and that again is a project that was initiated many years ago, and you're now seeing it come to fruition, which is Tualatin, Valley Water District, City of Hillsborough, and Beaverton they have built a beautiful raw water intake plant near our water treatment center, and you can, next time you have a chance to walk down there, you can look at it. It's nearing completion. And what you're seeing is building a 5-foot diameter pipe to take water from the Willamette River to their water treatment plant, which they will build and then supply those cities. And the partnership is difficult for us to drive by. The city thought of this and worked on it for a long time, and we have basically a rental agreement is one way to describe it, and the city is being reimbursed, or the compensation that the city secured through this project is about $17 million. And that is going to be used to fund some of the projects that we're talking about tonight. This is an overview of the Public Works complex that has been completed this year, and we will have a grand opening of this wonderful facility on Saturday, May 18th. I hope you'll come to that. What comes along with this is the fact that we were able to move Public Works out of what we call the community service block, where you see the police station, and 3 other locations where they stored equipment. It was extremely inefficient. They have basically, when you go to the grand opening, which I hope you'll do, you'll find out how that facility is going to serve as not only our Public Works department for our growing city, but also emergency services coordination and emergency operations. Partnering is, again, essential. We couldn't do all this if we did not maintain relationships and develop relationships with people we need to work with. And when the unexpected invasion of the Mediterranean oak beetle was determined to be in Wilsonville, I'm really admiring of our staff who got right on there. It's a huge crisis, having to cut down these magnificent oak trees and also some other species of trees that are being attacked by this insect. The Department of Forestry and the Department of Agriculture are continuing to research this and working with Wilsonville on that. So keep tuned into that. Another big development last year was, what did Wilsonville do to respond to the requirement to amend our camping regulations, our overnight camping bans, as every city was asked to do. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is an excellent example of partnership. We spent several months. We first asked all of the residents to respond to a survey, and that really got a big reaction from people. We asked, do you think where should people be allowed to camp overnight? overnight on public land? Where should they not be allowed to camp overnight? We got a tremendous response from that, and we worked with our Clackamas County Health and Human Services people. We worked with our mental health coordinator. All of the city councilors brought a lot to the table on this, and this is going to be an ongoing challenge. It isn't solved, but I think we are encouraged. We also worked with some social services agencies in Wilsonville Community Sharing, and Heart of the City. And so I really applaud everybody for coming up with a program that is values-based. And our staff is very involved. They have a team that meets once a week, and the objective is to find out who is this person who doesn't have a home? Who is this person who is in their car or maybe doesn't have any place to sleep? What is their name? What is the problem? And what is the best way to help them get into a successful situation? So that's a brief summary of it. Recent news on that same topic is that, as you might know, the voters passed a measure, a tax in 2020, I believe it was, that taxed people at the higher income ranges making $200,000 or more, and businesses producing revenues of $5 million or more, and said 1% of those earnings over that amount would be taxed and would go toward a fund to help with people experiencing homelessness, to help solve this issue and help prevent and eliminate homelessness. That is still, that has produced a lot of money. And there's a lot of activity going on to remedy the situation. I think Clackamas County is making some good headway. And just recently, they offered grants directly to the cities. We were recently informed that after a collaborative project between Wilsonville Community Sharing, the City of Wilsonville, and Heart of the City, and this group included our law enforcement, a lot of people on our staff, they came together as a team and submitted a grant application to Clackamas County, and they were awarded $500,000 to be used over the next 2 years to help people who are without resources, and help them keep jobs, retain jobs, and find homes. So basically, there are a lot of different steps in there, but wonderful collaboration there. Great. Thank you. And, you know, I want to introduce one more person that I should have introduced earlier. Lynn Wechtel of Heart of the City is here. Thank you, Lynn. And thank you for all of the time that you've spent with us developing these strategies. If you have a relative like I do, who's in Arizona, my sister, and she says she's coming to visit, well, she says, I'm going to stay in Portland. Well, I can tell her to look at explorewilsonville.com, and she can find out about all these cool things she can do, the restaurants she can go to, and why this is the best place to stay. Take a look at explorewilsonville.com. This is one of our boards and commissions, and they take care of how to manage the hotel and motel taxes that come to Wilsonville in a way that benefits our community. And if you think of something happening in Wilsonville that isn't on there, you can let us know that we can add it. So that brings me to our businesses, because businesses are very important to Wilsonville. And this slide here is showing another fantastic partnership that we've been talking about. I want to thank Representative Courtney Neron for her help with development of funding for a transit-oriented development that will be built on a piece of land about a little more than an acre near our West Transit Station. And it's, thank you for arranging that ARPA grant that covers the main floor of that building. We hope they will break ground in I believe, the fall or later this year. That will be 121 units of housing for people who are earning wages 30 to 80% of the area median wage. And on the ground floor, it will have a restaurant, tap room, Wilsonville Community Sharing will be located there, and a transit station, and a transit center, I should say. The key to this is, where did this idea come from? It actually came, this is an example of how Planning takes a long time in cities. Prior to when I was mayor, we had an initiative. The prior council decided they really wanted to address long-term housing. How can we have a more equitable housing landscape in Wilsonville so that people really do have a place to live at all stages in their life, especially as land values and houses have gone way up. And the city got a grant from Metro to develop the Equitable Housing Strategic Plan, and the plan was led by one of our counselors at the time, or the task force was led by then Councilor Ben West, and the council unanimously approved the Equitable Housing Strategic Plan. And it has a number of strategies that you will see us working on, including now we are working on how can we develop some first-time home buyer opportunities for people who cannot get into this housing market. We're looking at, this is going to take a while, working with Habitat for Humanity. We'll be looking at those projects. But the lower part of this slide is key to Wilsonville, where it says that in that Equitable Housing Strategic Plan, one of the advisories that came to us from our consultants, Eco Northwest, who did all the research and wrote the report, was that a growing imbalance between housing costs and wages can slow job growth and industry decisions to relocate or grow. So why is that important? Well, if you look at this slide, it tells you some of our most significant employers in Wilsonville, and it's very unique that a city our size has a private sector payroll of $1.2 billion, and we have, all kinds of wages here, but because we have a diversified tax base, we are able to have the kind of amenities that we're used to. And this brings me back to urban renewal again. We have two major plans that we talk about a lot. One of them closed this year. It's called the East Side Plan, and that plan used the urban renewal tool to build roads and streets and infrastructure that made it possible for Mentor Graphics to locate in Wilsonville. It made it possible for us to complete our sewer system. Now Siemens has Mentor Graphics, and that all that area, Canyon Creek Road, it's amazing the number of streets that were built with the year 2000 plan. I know this is getting kind of technical, but if you hear people saying that it would be a really bad idea to have urban renewal, think about the kind of city that my cat would be fine with. It doesn't have streets, it doesn't have parks, it doesn't have Murase Plaza, it doesn't have Town Center Park. It doesn't have great roads, great streets going in all directions. In fact, Villebois would not be there. If you like walking in the parks in Villebois, think urban renewal. That was required in order to get that, attract developers to be able to get that developed. Now, housing, I'm going to go back to this slide right here. I've been able to meet with some of our employers. It's always completely fascinating. Every time you hear from them, they want our schools, they want more math and science students. They want more housing at all different levels so that their employees, even at middle and higher wages, can live closer or in Wilsonville. So that brings me to this quick map of the Frog Pond neighborhood. And I don't know if you can't see it really detailed here, but the green area is Frog Pond West. We were talking about it at the work session. And as you know, that Frog Pond West is mainly larger single-family homes. And there are some homes that we call duplexes, larger, really nice homes in that area. It does not have any homes that would be now categorized as affordable for the middle housing. That's where we come to Frog Pond East, which is the one that is pictured in the blue. Can you see that there? In Frog Pond East, we were discussing at the east and south, those two areas are going to accommodate middle housing, and it's a very exciting plan that it has a lot of different variety for people. Today we were talking about the plans would be developed to encourage builders to build some what we call mobility-ready housing for people who live with a wheelchair. We want to have smaller housing, cottage housing, and also large housing. So Frog Pond East is going to be about 50% middle, single-family housing, and then a mix of middle housing and some multifamily. So all of those things are needed to continue to retain our wonderful employer mix and the amenities that we have come to love here in Wilsonville. So I encourage you, I'm not going to go through all the details on this, but please go to wilsonvilletowncenter.com, where you can read about how we got to where we are today and how it is that Wilsonville does have the incredible amenities that we have today, one of the biggest ones being underground utilities. When Wilsonville Road was expanded, urban renewal was the tool that made it possible to do the very expensive next step of burying our utilities. What a resilient advantage we have in our storms, and the things ahead of us today. So please look at that. Right here, you're seeing Boone's Ferry Road that was completed last year. In the Old Town area. It's wonderful to walk along there now. And this is a picture of the 5th to Kinsman, which gives a great, I travel that way, it's a great way to go from your house on the west side to grocery and other shopping without trying to get tangled up in what's happening with the Boone Bridge. The other big urban renewal area is the West Side urban renewal. I ran out of space here, so this is the area, the west, it will close June 30th, 2024, which means no tax increment will be collected anymore on these plans. You think about before we had Villebois, it was a farm field. There was a small amount of, facilities there, houses and small farms, and a district was built, determined around it, as you do with urban renewal, and the increased value of taxes collected from that area basically were collected and used to build the infrastructure, sidewalk, sewer, and water, and some of the parks to get Villebois started. And you see what we now have in terms of housing that is helping our city in so many ways. And please read in the towncenter.com, and also if you go to the city website and you look up the West Side Urban Renewal Plan, you can see how the urban renewal plans have helped our schools tremendously. We've helped them build a gymnasium, improve sports fields, lighting, signals to help with safety at schools. A huge list of things over many years have come from urban renewal to help our partners. So, bottom line, I ask you to participate with me in reading about this and thinking about what you can do to help our city have the excellent future that is ahead for Town Center, which is going to be, I think, a dynamic, active part of our city. It's been planned for many years with a tremendous amount of citizen participation and task forces. What I have here is just a quick slide showing you this was in the budget book. We're just about to have our budget meetings next week. And you can see on the one of the pages that describes the property taxes by jurisdiction that and I actually think I should have put 22, 23. I need to correct that for the record. That is for the last year. But you're seeing that property taxes for the jurisdictions are distributed across the board, and 3% of that is urban renewal. But all the urban renewal taxes after the urban renewal district closes are then redirected back to the overlapping taxing districts. And I will say that urban renewal is not the most light topic. It's very dense, and you can spend many hours reading about it. We've also partnered with our fire district to make sure that when they forego some tax revenue, which is what happens there, we can be sensitive to that and see what we can do to help in that regard. In Villebois, the decision was made to install residential fire sprinklers in all the houses, thereby greatly increasing the fire resiliency in that area. And as a result, what do you get from urban renewal? You get the kind of city that we have, that we like, not the one that works really well for a little cat. we've done, this slide shows the level of outreach that was done over many years, starting in 2016 to 2019, and we had the city engage the community in many different ways, and the Town Center Task Force, the Urban Renewal Task Force, and all kinds of gatherings and feedback and looking at drawings and voting, and that is how we came up with the Town Center plan, and I think we're very lucky to have a city with this level of participation. So in closing, I will say that I think Town Center is our next big thing. And it will be the heart of Wilsonville. It will have places to shop, socialize, live, and work. It has housing. It will be a place that will make our existing businesses, give them more foot traffic, more customers, more activity. It will bring so much, and it also is a place for physical activities so that our children, ourselves, and our neighbors can not only drive there and park in the parking structures that are parking facilities that are part of Town Center, they will also be able to walk and bike if that's their choice. So please join me in doing what you can to make Town Center a possibility for our future. Thank you.